Woohoo!
Guess what? It's still hot in Florida.
Yeah, it's like in the 90s and we're at 9 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, heat indexes this week have been like 103 on the regular, so
Terrible.
it's been a little hot to be in the garage.
Yeah. All right, welcome back, guys. Working on the Valiant again today. We've already been out here a little while. I cleaned up my welds on the leaf spring purchase, the relocate kit there. I put the 030 wire back in there in the machine, and that made a whole lot better welds today. As you can see, we have rear end, leaf springs, new custom Moser axles. And the first thing we're gonna have to do is I bought clutches for the SureTrack. So I'm gonna replace the clutches in the SureTrack and then put it all back together. Put axles in. That box is disc brakes. So hopefully we can get all this stuff done today. All right, we started on our SureGrip here, getting the clutches out. And what I did is I got a big bolt run through here with some washers on either side. Tighten it down real good. And so with the axle shaft here, we're gonna be able to spin it around, get our side gears out. So we have to get all this stuff out. So we're gonna mark them too. So just like that. Okay, I have to take this out, but as you can see with the side gears out, we can get the lower part out and all the clutches. And then the new clutches are sitting here in fluid, our PosiTrack limited slip additive. That way when we put them together in the housing, it doesn't chatter whenever we get the car on the road. They do not look bad. They got some wear on them. Yeah, that's your clip. On the other side it fell out. We got new ones though. Okay. Here's our old clutches. You can see a little bit of wear on them, but hardly any actually. Let's see. This is a Splicer clutch kit, and it comes packed like that with the tie on there. As you can see, it's already in the proper order. So we'll just swap these out. These are our new clips, and pack it full of grease. That way they'll stay on there when we go to assemble it.
More than that.
Good stuff. Old clip. Old clip. Here's the other side. Not too bad.
Next side down.
Now we can just slide the whole pack back in the SureGrip. Flip it over. First side done. We're gonna put this one in and then put the bolt in to hold it all in there. Okay, we got our new clutches in. Went ahead and put our ring gear on. That is torqued to 65 foot-pounds. We have the pin in since we're not using C-clips anymore. And we have some blue Loctite on our little safety pin here. Blue Loctite and then a little grease to keep it from seizing up in the shaft. And then these are also new. I did that the other day. What I did is I put the carrier, the SureGrip, in the freezer. heated up the bearing and set it on there, put a wood block on it, hit it with a hammer, and it went right on. So that's all done. It's time to set it up into the rear end there. Alright, we have the rear end set up here on the tailgate of the truck because all my jack stands are being used. Usually I do this on jack stands, but the whole housing here has been washed a few times and dried out, cleaned, painted, all that stuff. And then the pinion I never removed because the gears are staying the same. It seemed like it was okay, and you have to have special tools to do a pinion gear, so I just left it in there. Then we have our other stuff here cleaned, our side adjusters, which I built a tool for, just using a socket, a washer, and a couple of nuts there. So that'll help us tighten up our side adjusters, and we have our main caps there. So let's go ahead and get this thing going together. I'm going to put our carrier in there, our side adjusters, put it all in loosely, and then we're going to set our backlash to about 6 to 10 thousandths. Our side adjusters screwed in there. David's going to drop in the SureGrip and the gear. Alright, now we just need to start tightening up the side gears. I have my tool along with an extension in there, so we can start tightening these up. I'm going to go ahead and throw our main caps on there also. I'm just going to snug these up a little bit until we get our backlash set. Okay, we need 6 to 10 thousandths. The two main caps are just barely snugged up. So what I need to do is loosen the passenger side and tighten the driver's side just a little bit to move the ring gear closer to the pinion. And you take about 10 thousandths out of it. So torque wrench is set up at 75 foot-pounds, and mind holding that for me? Holding that for me. Alright, let's see how much we got. Okay, after going back and forth a few times to get our side gears or our side adjusters, we have about 8.5 thousandths. So that'll be good enough. We tighten them to 75 foot-pounds on each side. Now we just have to do 75 foot-pounds on the main caps. Now that the main caps are torqued, also put these little clips in. They hold the adjuster from backing out. So put those in, torque those. And here I have the Moser axles. Those are custom 31 spline with a Dana 60 bearing on it. And before we put them on, we have this spacer for the disc brake kit, and we'll show you more of the disc brake kit first. But before you put the axles in, you have to put the spacer on there. This takes the place of a drum backing plate. So the original cars had backing plates for the drums, so this is what replaces it. Alright, it's now Sunday evening, and yesterday put the rear end together, including putting the SureGrip in, changing the clutches in the SureGrip, new axles. And then last night I came out and sprayed some paint on the new pieces here, the relocate kit, and then used the rust dissolver from Rust-Oleum and hit all this rust down here, just painted it on, and seems to be doing really well. So next up, I'm gonna go ahead and try to get these leaf springs in and try to manhandle this rear end in here. That thing's super heavy now that's all put together. And then hopefully get the brakes put on tonight. So gonna go ahead and get started on that. I don't know if I mentioned before, but these are the Mopar Super Stock Springs. The new shackles also. Back when I did the front suspension, I went ahead and bought polyurethane bushings. So here's the factory ones that came on the new shackles. I greased them up real good, put the polyurethanes in, and up top also. So brand new polyurethanes. Let's go ahead and push this thing up, see if we can get it all lined. Shackles on both sides are in place. Nuts are on. They are tightened up a little bit, but not all the way. Got to wait till it's sitting on the tires on the ground before we tighten all the suspension components up. Now I have pulled my little dolly out here. Have a jack under the pinion on the differential. I'm gonna eyeball it for now, and that way later on, once we get the drive shaft, we can set pinion angle. But for now, we're gonna eyeball it, put our U-bolts on. I need to measure, make sure we are equal side to side. I want this thing centered on the leaf springs. So I'm gonna measure this, and then we're gonna put our U-bolts on. Now, being that this rear end has 3.5-inch tubing, I had to get custom built purchase from US Auto Tool. I called the guy, he sent me 3-inch. He made me these 3.5s. He said he didn't know that these came with 3.5-inch tubes. But with that being said, also a spring, the lower plate with the shock mount is hard to come by, and actually I haven't found one. So this is off of a Durango out of a junkyard. Cost me about $15 for a set of them. I'm going to put these on, and actually I've got the wrong side here. It has a shock mount, but it's different than the factory shock mount. So we're either going to have to mount a shock going straight up, move the original shock mount over here, or I can cut this off. You can buy the pin for the shock mount, and I can weld that on there, make my own. So it's not going to be a problem. Some of you guys probably yell at me for using Durango stuff, but that's what we got. After I get these snugged up right here, we'll go ahead and see if we can get those disc brakes put on here. Bolts are all tightened up on the U-bolts there. Here I have Mancini Racing disc brake kit with e-brake for the rear. As you can see, we have loaded calipers, rotors, e-brake cables, regular brake lines, hydraulic brake lines, brackets, hardware, and remember yesterday we already put the spacer on here that takes up for the backing plate. So that's right there. So if you're doing this on a car that has drum brakes and you're swapping them out, you're gonna have to pull the axles. Don't forget about that. So here's our kit. I don't want to, not worried about e-brakes and stuff today. Today, main focus, brackets, rotors, calipers, pads. There's the primary mounted to the caliper bracket, and these are the bolts that, as you can see, has a little notch in it. That way it can clear the housing here. Hopefully you can see that. But so that way it clears the housing, goes in the holes. Throw a lug nut on here. That way my rotor stays. This is a 9mm Allen, by the way. Well, there's the driver's side. Looks really good. I'm impressed how it fit. I'm gonna go ahead and do the other side. I'll bring you guys back tomorrow because I think it's about 8 o'clock. It's dark outside, and I want you guys to have a good look at this so you can see, you know, what it's looking like. Light, it's not that great with the GoPro. But yeah, I'll bring you back tomorrow when it's all done. Get you some light and show you the entire job. See what we got. Good morning. It's Monday morning. We have some good light, so I wanted to show you all the progress that was made for this video. And as you can see, new paint and cleaned up welds. The rust converter worked well. I'm just letting that sit there. And then rear end, brakes, new Super Stock Springs, hangers, or shackles. So it's really coming together now. So next up, I believe, you know, we have these old brakes, if you remember from an old video. That's just old rotor, so I'm going to get new rotors, pads, calipers, and then I have some braided brake line to go on there too. Also, we didn't plumb this up, so we need our braided brake lines are going to go on there, and the e-brake cables. So that's it. It's looking good. Well guys, hope you enjoyed that. We'll see you next time.